Dozens of Somali businesses are on the verge of closing down in Minnesota. I want to say it's an entire mall strip called Caramel. This is what the business owners had to say.
Everybody was dreaming to open business this month, but not anymore. It's very slow. We're not making any money. If this problem continues, I don't think we can have our businesses. I live South Minneapolis. If you walk around, like, you think nobody lives the area. I think ICE is here to destroy it, the Minneapolis, harassing people, closing our businesses. We have to come out and, fight our rights. I was volunteering last 3 days to explain in my community and tell them how important it is to do assembly, to do the protesting. ICE, we will see you.
Do y'all think this is more evidence that there was fraud funding these businesses? Because ICE was out there before all these protests, like before they start getting media coverage like this. ICE was out there in December. And I remember when Nick Shirley was doing these videos, you rarely seen any people in those strip malls anyway. They weren't really packed like that anyway. And then Minnesota just launched this nationwide shutdown not to go to businesses or support any businesses or shopping. I mean, that's added to their businesses too. Their businesses shut down. Nobody's outside unless they're protesting ICE. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think ICE played a role in this, or it's just because the fraud is being exposed and the funding stopped?
Hey, what's up, America? Minnesota Somalian fraud update. So Donald Trump is now saying the fraud in Minnesota among the Somalian community is now topping over $19 billion. Donald Trump is also now pushing hard for an investigation into Ilhan Omar and how she went from negative net value to $30 million in a year and a half. On top of that, Ilhan Omar's husband going from a bankrupt winery to $1 million organization all of a sudden. On top of that, the Somalian community is now accusing Democrats of not shielding them from investigations, saying that they'll turn their support away from Democrats because they did not have proper protections. I guess that's proper protections from not being investigated. Nevertheless, there's a lot of really shady shit going on with the Somalian community up in Minnesota, particularly the city of Minneapolis. I also noticed that at the protests that were going on recently this weekend in Minneapolis, that none of the Somalians came out to protest. It was all liberal white people for the most part. Not a Somalian could be seen anywhere. So the white liberals are getting in the streets to protest about a community that's being marginalized that they won't even come out to help protest themselves. That should tell you a lot and speak volumes right there.
Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. This video is for educational and awareness purposes, and the views and perspectives shared in this video is intended to inform and encourage constructive conversation. So a lot is happening right now in the Somali community. We are seeing frustration, anger, disappointment, and fear. More and more stories are coming out. More secrets are being exposed. More voices are speaking up. Black and white Americans, everybody is reacting because the situation just keeps getting messier by the day. I've been able to gather clips from different people who shared their thoughts. Credits to all creators featured. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments below.
I want to share some fascinating information I found out why Minnesota is such a desirable place to people like the Somalis and to like illegals there. Okay, this information comes from Michelle Bachmann, who was a politician out of Minnesota. Okay, she says that the Somalis started coming there in the first place through Bill Clinton, not Barack, through Bill Clinton. Okay. She also said that the Somalis were so deceptive that they couldn't be trusted to tell the truth on anything. What was happening is that Minnesota is very, very generous with their welfare benefits. Okay, it's one of the top states in the nation with how much they give for welfare benefits, which attracted a lot of people starting in the 80s. Okay. But if you are an immigrant, they will give you, these Somalis, they were giving them $3,500 a month per person. Not per family, per person. So if you had 97 kids, it is what it is, right? Now, this was on top of the free housing, the free medical care, the free everything. And also, Democrat officials there were walking these people through all of the paperwork to set up their businesses in the first place. So, this is why the Somalis were able to access billions and billions of dollars, more than the entire GDP of Somalia. And while they were shuttling money, and like she said, in those little rolly suitcases back and forth through the airport, taking out billions of dollars. Yeah, this goes back to Clinton.
They say there's no honor among thieves. The Somalis handpicked a courier to actually bribe a juror with $200,000 at trial. Well, their handpicked courier skimmed 40% of the money before it ever got to the juror. And this is what happened.
Somalis got caught bribing the jury.
One of the Somali fraudsters tried to bribe a juror with $120,000. What turned out, she'd been given $200,000 to bribe the juror, and she skimmed $80,000.
They skimmed the skim. They really are gangsters. But Trump's the captain now, and it's game over.
Remember, people, that is your hard-earned tax money that they're using to do this stuff. So, something to think about. But I want to hear your comments, and make sure you smash and like that follow button.
I'm from Minneapolis, and Somalians are just part of the culture here. As far back as I can remember, I've always seen Somalians. And in these past 5 years, the population increased so much. It went from seeing them to them feeling like the majority a lot of places that I go. And also, over the past few years, I've noticed that I see a lot of them with new cars. So I'm a handyman, and I worked on a lot of Section 8 housing to make sure they're up to standard. And one thing I've noticed when I go to these Section 8 houses, one, it's usually a Somali family. And what I mean usually, it's 9 times out of 10. And those houses usually have new cars in the front. I mean cars with an S, multiple new cars. And what I mean usually is like 8 out of 10 Somali houses I've seen that. And I always wondered how someone on Section 8 can afford multiple new cars. I just couldn't put it together. So now finding out about this fraud stuff makes so much sense. And you know who I feel bad for other than me for paying for that shit with my taxes? Is Somalians who came here on the up and up and who didn't break the law. Because as a black man, I know how it feels to be judged because someone else with your same skin color did some stupid that you wouldn't approve of. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but one thing I do know is I've been saying for years we need to kick Tim Walz out because he knew about it from the beginning.
If you are defending immigration, this is how the Somalis are repaying you.
Ma'am, please keep your hands where we can see them. It's just money for my family, wallahi. I don't do nothing wrong.
You're transporting over 500,000 in undeclared currency. We have to seize it.
I need it for home. Please, I beg you.
Ma'am, you're being detained right now. Turn around for me.
They're actually, from what I understand, taking up to $1 million a day out of the country of your taxpayer money and taking it over to Somalia. Basically, from what I understand, they've already paid off their GPD over there because of the billions of dollars they stole off us. So when you're defending the immigration policies that we're trying to put in place, this is how they're repaying you. She just took out more money than you make an entire year. And you're going to try to defend people like that.
This message is for those in the Somali community. I don't know if you got the memo. I don't know if it arrived yet. But in rushing to get this memo to you, this message, because we had the feeling that you had this expectation that you wanted us to fulfill. And we sent in this memo, we simply said, hell no. Now, in rushing this memo, getting you this message, we left something very important out. And I apologize. I'm sorry. You can blame me. But what we left out is you are starting to notice that Black Americans are no longer saying African Americans, or you're hearing it less. It's because we have done so much work here. We fought corruption here. We fought the Ku Klux Klan here. We fought the government here. We built the infrastructure. We fight the red line through real estate to keep us in the ghetto. We did a lot of stuff. And the stuff that we did and the work that we put in, it makes no sense to say that we're from somewhere else. Especially when that somewhere else doesn't even want us. And to make it worse, when you're over here in our backyard, you don't even want us in your community. So that being said, we don't say African American, or I don't. Let me speak for myself. I don't say African American. I say Black Native American. And that's not to take away from the work that everybody else does with, like, my ancestors, not to disrespect anybody. But we're here today, and we had to fight to be here. And my people is not going to fight and die here to raise their children here to turn around and say that they're from somewhere else. No, that doesn't work, especially when you let us know that we're not welcome in your community. So, again, I apologize. That I also wanted to put that in the first memo, but again, we had to rush to get it out to you because you thought we were coming to your rescue. So you're on your own, but you'll be all right. You'll definitely be all right. I know the struggle is real, but it's nothing like what we had to go through.
President Donald Trump needs to continue to dismantle the Somalian community in Minnesota. What this is about to do with stuff is that so many people that are getting ready to come up in the 2026 election, when seats are being vacated, they're using the Somalian community to gain rank into those seats, into those positions. That's how Ilhan Omar got in her position. Once they have a runover of Minnesota, then they feel like they can take over the state, then they'll start trying to come for our country. Everybody needs to start getting out and voting regardless of what you think or how you think that your vote does not work or it does not count. It does. That way you all will be around here complaining and bitching about what is happening so much in this world when these foreign people are coming in here trying to take over our states. We need to stand up and stop them.
Listen, nobody cares. Like, bro, if the whole Somalian population goes back to Somalia right now today, nobody's gonna bat an eye, bro. I don't know why these people are acting as if they're like the main characters of anything. Bro, listen here, bro. You can leave and give us our money back, bro. That's the two options that you guys got.
Our team has been talking to DHS officials all week, and we have learned that $700 million in cash was flown out of Minneapolis by Somali couriers in the past 2 years. That's roughly $350 million a year for 2024 and 2025. Now, to put that into perspective, that number is 10 to 1 compared to bigger airports like JFK and DFW. And we are told that they were about 3 to 4 million a year, quite a difference. But it's not just Minnesota. It's also happening in Columbus, Ohio, where officials tell us that since 2023, $136 million in bulk cash was flown from Columbus to Somalia. And now we're learning more about how the money got from Columbus to Somalia. First, bulk cash and luggage flies out of John Glenn Columbus International Airport. Then luggage lands in either Minneapolis or Atlanta before it is sent overseas.
So not only Minnesota, but large amounts of money was being flown out of Washington also. Now, Washington didn't have as much money as Minnesota and Ohio, but money was being flown out of Washington too. Now, the thing that these three states have in common, Minnesota, Ohio, and Washington, is that these three states have the largest Somali population in the nation. And what I find interesting is that a place like Minnesota, a small airport, have $700 million flown out of that airport in comparison to a huge airport like JFK where there's only $3 million going out. There's no red flags that's popping up. Like law enforcement, local law enforcement in Minnesota, you don't see any red flags. They decide to turn away and let it happen, right? And while all this is going on, there's still no arrest. There's still no one's being charged. They know that money was flown out of these three states and then wire transferred to different countries, but no one's being charged as of now.
They're trying to sweep it under the rug as if tax time is not coming up. A lot of people are trying to figure out and wonder, why am I paying taxes and these people are just defrauding the government? And I know these Somalians are not that smart to come around and do all this shit in the United States. There's people out there that's helping them do this. And a lot of the politicians, bro, honestly, bro, they're all gonna be blamed. All of them. The only ones that I could say were probably not on is Mark Hoffman and Elizabeth Hortman, the two politicians that got shot and killed because they did not want to give illegal immigrants free health care and whatnot, and they did nothing about it, bro. That shit is insane. Honestly, bro. Tim Walz, his wife, his kids, everybody. Bro, there's no way that these people were a part of a major fraud scandal like this and they didn't know. And then on top of that, right, just imagine if Kamala Harris was able to become the president and that was going to be her running mate, her VP. You think these people don't, for the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years, right, people have been complaining about the Somalians in Cleveland, the Somalians in Minnesota, everywhere. Like, bro, this is what's going on. And it's not even just them. There's a lot of immigrants that are doing this, but they were not looking into it. Go check California. Go check, bro, even in Florida, every state, go check it and audit them. Like, I know the states, like the red states, of course, they're going to pass. There's other blue states that's going to pass. California, New York, Minnesota, and imagine what other states. Like, bro, I'm tired of this shit, bro. There needs to be people held accountable for these situations.
These people, and this is exactly what I knew Trump calling us out would do, is make these loser ass people feel emboldened enough to come to our communities, wreak havoc in our communities, and call us out because they couldn't make something of themselves. Like, and the thing that makes all this so ironic is the president, like, aren't you a felon? Like, what? It's like, what are we even speaking about? Like, what are we talking about here, right? But these brainwashed individuals are so focused on immigrants and minorities that they can't see past the brainwashing. Like, it literally pisses me off, y'all. Like, I don't find this to be funny at all. Like, I know we're making jokes about it, but it enrages me, y'all. Like, it makes me so mad because the hypocrisy and, like, I don't know, this narrative, I just miss when we were freaking inconspicuous. Nobody knew who we were. We're minding our business. Like, please, like, oh.
Honestly, at this point, I'm not even shocked by some of the reactions anymore. One of the biggest issues has always been accountability. So when I see certain allies, coming out and saying things they shouldn't be saying or reacting in ways that don't help the situation, it doesn't surprise me anymore. Truth be told, okay, that attitude is part of the problem because now Americans, both black and white, are losing trust, like real trust. And it's not just even sympathy anymore. There's no sympathy left, like at all. People are just watching, questioning, and distancing themselves. The trust is totally gone. Patience is gone. The benefit of the doubt is gone. And that's because of the same patterns, the attitude, lack of accountability. And now that secrets are being revealed almost every day, I mean, every day it's something new. It just makes the whole matter worse. Americans are reacting, social media is reacting, comment sections are on fire, people are dissecting everything. It feels like pressure from all directions. Businesses are closing, Somalis are talking about bankruptcy, people are calling for press meetings, others are asking for donations, some are saying they can't even leave their homes to run their businesses because of ICE rates. And at the same time, there are people pushing back saying, nah, that's not the full truth. They are saying some of these businesses weren't even really real businesses to begin with. That's now that attention is on them, now that eyes are watching, now that the pressure is on, people are just being careful because they can't move the same way anymore. The truth is, some Somalis are genuinely suffering. Some businesses are real and truly struggling. And at the same time, some people are panicking because their old ways of operating don't work anymore. The situation is actually getting messier by the day. It feels like everything is hitting at once. Pressure from the system, from public, from law enforcement, from attention. And that's why I feel like things are falling apart instead of settling down. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Shalom.